What is up, everybody? Welcome once again to my channel, and today let's go for the opening round of the 6th season of the Chicane Online Racing League, or COR for short, as we are here today at this glorious circuit of Albert Park, of course, getting ready for the Australian Grand Prix. While everyone is getting ready in the lobbies, let's get ourselves started with the introduction of this track. So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Albert Park, a 5.3 kilometer circuit, 16 turns go around the Albert Park Lake, situated in the middle of the public park of course, Albert Park. 10 corners to the right and 6 to the left make this circuit. We are going to be racing here for 29 laps. Of course, we have the optimal overtaking opportunities at turns 1 and 3, as well as at the end of the third DRS zone of turn 13. Of course, we are going to be able to have some good action throughout the mixed public roads, mixed permanent circuit here in this circuit, and of course never stop looking out at your mirrors throughout all of those overtaking spots, because we've seen quite a few incidents throughout the years. Of course, not only in the first race in 1996, just 3 days before I got my first birthday in this world. Just a fun, useless fact for you guys. Martin Brundle, it only took 3 laps in the opening race on this circuit to get a very big incident with Martin Brundle. A similar incident in that exact corner happened more recently in 2015, if I'm not mistaken, with Fernando Alonso colliding with the back of the Haas driven by Gutierrez, and we all know how spectacular that crash was. Now, moving through the order of our pack, of course, we are in a brand new season, so just giving you guys down a rundown of the drivers that are going to take part in this season. We have Fungus and Elton in the Mercedes, we have Calipos and Kosia in the Ferrari, then we have the Red Bull lineup composed of Red Hornet and Griffin. After that, we have the... sorry about that, I have a window that's not collaborating with me. We have the Renaults of Leclerc and Vane, followed by the Portuguese El Nabo and the Finn Alabama at McLaren. After that, we have Bottas and Skull 28 in the Haas, Colin and Magnet racing for Force India, Recycle Finn and Willie P racing for the Toro Rosso team. Then we have the previous season winner, Sloppy McFloppy, taking the seat at Alfa Romeo, and he has a Swiffer alongside him, Wiz in the Williams, and he has the only French driver in this championship alongside him, as he goes by the name of Taxi Tundra. So, just going right now onto the game, going through the middle of the loading procedures. Hopefully everyone gets through without any losses in connection. That would be great. So, yeah, by the way, guys, today I found a way to get all the information I need on my second monitor and have the what's the name, and have the chat as well. So if you guys want, just make your opinions known. Make sure to let me know who are your favorites for today's race. Just messing around with a couple of my of my windows real quick, just making sure I have everything I need available. I'm going to get out of the pause menu in just a second, and there we have it. Everything is working fine. We already have our first drivers out on a track, and we are going to just change a few things in this menu. I'm going to get the lap data, yeah, that's what I wanted, and I'm going to get the laps or the tire compounds they have at this track. Speaking of the tire compounds, we have the Ultra Softs, softs and super softs available to us. I'm guessing the optimal strategy will be starting on the softs and finishing on the ultra softs. Of course, you can always try to qualify in the top 10 with a set of softs, but for those who are going to be trying to get the start on the ultra soft tires, they need to really pull away in the opening stint so they don't get caught out then by people with fresher tires behind them, and also not only fresher but also softer compounds of tires on their mirrors at the end of the race. Those ultra softs are supposed to last at about 10 laps, I would say, and then at about the lap 10 mark, everyone will be just going for a simple one-stop strategy, switching onto the super softs. Of course, those that might have a bit of issue, some undesirable, yeah, that was the word I was looking for, that took a while, some undesirable contact into the opening laps, they can just go into the pits, get their repairs and bolt on a set of softs that surely will last until the end of the race. So we are now going to start following the lap of Willie P. So we're going down into turn 1. Very bumpy approach to this first corner. You have to be careful to not lock up a front tire. The corner, as you see there, just as I speak about locking up the tires, to not take much curb into the exit of turn 2, as Bottas demonstrated last season. Now another bumpy approach to turn 3. So again, locking up is not ideal. You use quite a bit of the curb on the exit, but you have to be careful because you can lose the rear because of that. As we now come to turn 6, you look for about 70 meters away from the corner. You try to go on the inside curb as much as you can to straighten out the exit as much as possible and get a clean getaway into this lap corner 9 and 10. Be smooth on the power again, try to use as much of the curbs as possible to straighten out the corner as much as you can, because you need to get a good launch onto this very wide corner, and then full throttle, not full throttle, but full speed into the high-speed chicane of 11 and 12, second or third DRS zone. Then we look for about 80 meters away from the corner. It has a bit of camber to the inside, so you can carry slightly more speed than your brain might want you to carry at first. Now it's a very tricky turn for 15, and then smooth on the power through 16 as he goes up through the gears once again, and is going to cross over the line with a 1 minute 25.2. It wasn't the best lap from him, he made a few mistakes. I'm sure he would like to have that one back, and is at the moment he doesn't even posted a lap because he got invalidated, so that's how it goes for him, unfortunately. Now just moving to he yelled up that Mercedes. Was that fungus? Let us see. Was that fungus? Yeah, he might have held up fungus a bit, but he already posted his lap time 1:36.4 on softs. I'm sure that's not his final lap. He's probably just testing the grip and all that, just doing some laps, and after that he's going to be giving it full beans, so to speak, to try and set his final qualifying time. Now moving to some others who might be on their flying laps, let's move to Swiffer. As let me take a look at his ERS bar. Yes, it does look like he's just about to begin his flying lap. Let's see how it does. Of course, Swiffer, I believe this is his debut season here in the championship, so the German it will be nice to see how his pace does throughout this season. Of course, he's going to have quite interesting competition. Just in the other car, he's alongside the championship winner from last season, Sloppy McFloppius. Magnet just retired. I don't know if he crashed or if he just went into the pause menu and retired from the session. But yes, Swiffer is going to get a good opportunity to prove himself with Sloppy McFloppy, the winner of last season, alongside him. He's going to now the end of the second sector. It looks like he's on a pretty good lap. Let's see how it does now through this third sector. Of course, now turns 13, I believe that's where he's through now, and then 14, approaching the hairpin of turn 15. Let's see if he does lock up. He does lock up, so that might cost him 1/10 or 2. Looks like he was smooth on the power, using the exit curb as much as you can. And crossing over the line with a 120.6, so that grants him P4, right behind the Ferrari of Calipos, who's one of the OGs of this league. He's been racing since the first season, if my memory is not playing tricks on me. But yeah, Calipos has never won a championship in this championship. He never won a championship in this racing league, but I'm sure he's going to try to use is not only his pace, which is quite decent, he's no slouch in this game, but I'm sure he's going to take that and mix it with his veterancy to gain some wins and hopefully at the end of the season take a first championship win. Now I'm going to move down the order, see who might also be on a flying lap. Let's take a look at Grosjean, the only Lithuanian here in the championship. Of course, he is alongside Calipos, so he has a very good teammate who's going to challenge him for every result in every single race that both of them take a part of. So not sure if team orders are going to necessarily going to be accepted into this season between these two Ferrari drivers, as he gets a 26 if my eyes are not deceiving me through that second sector. And let's see how he does through this third one. Going on board with him, let's see how smooth he can be. He has plenty of ERS on his bar. Well, he has plenty of energy at his disposal. Let's see now to turn 16. A bit of wheel dumped on the grass. That might have been too wide through the last corner. Let's see, he crosses over the line, 121.0, and he gets 5th place. So at the moment, just over 4 tenths behind his teammate. I'm sure he wants to improve on that one. Let's move down the order once again. Let's go for our reserve driver, a man that got the podium in this race last season. I believe he got 3rd place, Marcel Leboeuf, but he's at the moment in the pits, so my mistake. I didn't notice he was in the pits. I would like to also take a look at Vane, but he's also in the pits. Is Hornet going to go out there for a second flying lap after getting invalidated through his first one? Let's see how good of a run he gets now. A bit of a lockup there into turn 9. Not necessarily the best, but yeah, he's using his energy, so I'm sure he's on a flying lap. He's 6 seconds. I'm sure that might be an aborted lap from Hornets, but he needs to start conserving a bit of his energy. As you guys can see, his general energy on that blue bar on his steering wheel is not going on a low energy mode, but I believe he's 6 seconds behind his previous best time. So let's see how it goes. Yeah, he aborted the lap and he goes into the pits. And he's going to have to get another set of these pink-walled or purple-walled Ultra Softs and see what he does next. So we have Weasley on a flying lap, one of our Williams drivers. The German is not a rookie in this championship, so he knows what he's doing. I don't think he has contested for a championship throughout his COR career, if I can call it that, but I'm sure he's going to want to show some improvement and what he's truly capable of through starting with this qualifying session. He's currently on the Ultra Soft, so he's not going for a super soft start. He's not really trying to qualify in the top 10 with super softs. Of course, it would be better if you could get a super soft start and then have not only fresher but softer tires on the Ultra Softs towards the end of the races. Everyone else that starts on the Ultra Softs would be on older super softs, but the downsides to that is that if you start on a harder compound, you might not be able to pull away from your rivals and therefore have to deal with lots of traffic. And of course, when you are in the middle of traffic, it increases the chances of having contact. It lowers your lap time, because you might be dealing with either battling for position directly or dealing with dirty air from the guys around you. So Yes, slightly more optimal strategy could be a start on the super softs, but looks like most of the field at the moment is deciding to not take the gamble and is running ultra soft swiftly, going very quickly through the fast chicane. Now going through turn 13, using quite a bit of the curb. I'm not sure how the game handles the track limits around there, as he looks for this around 60 meters away from the corner. He goes on the hairpin. Very important car placement, as you want to get wide open on the entry to turn 16 to make sure you straighten out the corner as much as you can. He crosses off the line with a 120.9, which got him 6th place. I believe he was dethroned right away by Colin on the Force India. He is the quickest out of the super soft runners at the moment. Now, moving down the order, let's see. Yeah, Red Hornet, he doesn't have a lap posted yet. He's going around there for another one. I'm sure he's going to start this one now. And let's see how he goes. It's Red Hornet, Marcel Leboeuf, and Elton, the only guys who haven't posted a lap yet. But let's see what lap time he gets at the end of this, as we are moving on to Vane, the Renault driver. He knows what it is, or how it is to be on top. He has gotten a second in the championship standings, I believe at the end of season either 4 or 5. So he knows how to drive at the top in terms of pace compared to the rivals in this league. But he never won the championship. It was Juno, one of the former drivers, just dominating in that Mercedes and beating Vane to the championship. So hopefully Juno is not racing. So let's see if Vane can finally claim a championship for his to get the championship under his belt. He's going very slowly. Is he going okay? He improved on his lap time and went into the pits, or maybe didn't improve, but yeah, went into the pits. So it was a bit of a shame. I wanted to see a flying lap from him. I wanted to see how he would do. Moving to his teammate then, Charles Leclerc, not Charles Leclerc of course, COR Leclerc, but looks like he's also on an in-lap. Let's see, Alabama. The Finn is side by side with, not side by side, but alongside El Nabu for this season in the McLaren, and is going to, I'm not sure what his pace is. I don't think I've ever seen him race in this championship, but I'm sure he's going to, at least to me, going to try to prove himself. Of course, El Nabu is currently in 6th place, and in terms of the best lap times, is only 1/10, if my eyes are not deceiving me. It's only 1/10 between El Nabu and Alabama, so he doesn't need to do all that much to get past his teammate, but you can see how close it is at the moment, with only 1/10 separating 6th from 10th place. So let's see how it does as he crosses over the line. It's going to be a 1:20.8. I'm not sure if he's going to go for a second flying lap or not. We are going to keep with him for a couple more laps. Let's see just if he decides to go for a second flying lap or not. He didn't seem like he was slowing down, so let's see how he does. He could have used a bit more width on the track through corners, through the transition between the 3rd and the 4th corner. Of course, the more track you use, the higher the speed you can carry through the entry, the apex, and the exit, and therefore you are going to be quicker through the corner than someone that takes a tighter line. Look pretty smooth. He could have again used more track. He could have gotten closer to the wall at the exit of turn 10, as he gets by one of the McLarens who's going quite slowly. Sure, he's either preparing a lap or going on in lap, as he gets the DRS wide open as we approach turn 13. Let's see on the exit. Pretty smooth on the exit, just using as much of the curb as he possibly could, as he looks now for a pretty crucial braking zone. A slight lockup on that inside tire, but he aborts the lap and he gets into the pits. So unfortunately we are not going to get a flying lap, a completed flying lap from him. I'm not sure if he was improving on that lap or not. I'm sure he doesn't think he was, otherwise he wouldn't go into the pits. Now let's move down the order a bit. Let's see if we can get Marcel on a flying lap as he crosses the line to get 9th place, 121 dead. so we couldn't get really a lap from him. Let's try to go to Red Hornet. Let's see if he finally posts a lap time. Looks like he's just about to start his flying lap. And let's see what the American driver from the Red Bull team, let's see what he has for us. He had a bit of trouble with the track limits in the previous laps, and not the greatest first corner from Red Hornet. Unfortunately, he's going to have to pull off something quite special to be competitive after that mistake. It was a very big mistake, and now it just locks up into turn 3 again. Those are quite tricky corners. The surface is quite bumpy, but maybe he's running too high brake pressure, or maybe that's just a visual glitch for me. Maybe he's not locking up, but on my monitor it's looking like he's locking up. But yeah, if he's in fact locking up, he might, well, not now because park frame rules are in place, but or enforced at the moment. But yeah, he can also he can always move the braking bias a bit further to the rear, and he hasn't locked up since those incidents at turns 1 and 3, as we have yellow flags for some reason. Let's see what he does through turn 13, missing another apex, and I'm sure that's going to be an invalidated lap time from the Red Bull driver, unfortunately for him. So let's move to Recycle Finn, who's on a flying lap. Pretty quick exit out of turn 12 as he finishes sector 2. Now through this third sector, getting it quite short. Maybe he's going to get penalized for that. I'm not sure what the game thinks about that interpretation of the track limits, but let's see how it goes. And yeah, he wasn't really improving, either got invalidated through there, or he wasn't improving on his lap. He's currently on pole, 3 tenths away from his closest rival, so he doesn't really have much to worry about. Let's take a look at Vane. And it seems like his ERS bar is full. I'm not sure if he was on a hot lap. Maybe he mistimed his moment to get out of the garage. So and he's not going to start a flank lap. Moving to Calipos, let's see what he does. He's hitting the limiter in 7th. I don't know why he's not in 8. Maybe that's a visual glitch for me. And yeah, we are really having a visual glitch. Every time he moves up, his revs are in a maximum. So yeah, Vane has retired from qualifying. Let's see what Calipos is doing as he gets a smooth exit out of turn 16, and he crosses over the line to post a 1:20.3 lap time. He improves by less than a tenth. That doesn't get him any closer to the top. Well, it gets him closer, but doesn't get any closer in terms of on-track placement, only on the timesheets. So he got beaten by Kosia. So Kosia have a very good first qualifying session alongside his teammate. So the Lithuanian driver, I'm pretty sure is feeling like a job well done for him. As we got, yeah. So I think maybe some lag issues because everyone has crossed the line, right? No, we have Red Hornets. We have Red Hornets. Let me get to him, and he's going to the pits. He's invalidating the lap. So yeah, that's going to be the end of the qualifying session. But yeah, it's going to be the Toro Rosso of Recycle Finn in the pole position alongside Vane in the second row. Then we have Kosia and Calipos in an all Renault second row. Then we have Swiffer in 5th, followed by El Nabouas. Leclerc is in 7th, side by side with Colin. Then we have Weasley and Marcel Leboeuf in the 5th row of the grid as they complete the top 10. Then we have Alabama, followed by Fungus. Willie P in 13th, so quite off the pace of his own teammate, and we are going to get the remaining standings in a moment. But yeah, guys, with that, just comment away which driver do you guys think is going to be the winner of this race. Who is your favorite for this opening round of the Season 6 here at COR? But yeah, moving down the order, Willie P, as you guys can see, it was more than 2 seconds away from his teammate. So I think someone got a penalty. I think Vane got a 5th place penalty. Let me check why. Let me check why. A grid penalty for Vane for a collision with Willie P. So maybe that's the reason why Willie P isn't further up the grid. But, well, that's unfortunate. But yeah, just moving down the order, Magnet gets in last place, unfortunately for him. Not a good start for the Force India driver. I think he either crashed out or disconnected or something, because he didn't, he wasn't out there for most part of the qualifying session. I think he only did one initial lap and he might have crashed out. I didn't quite notice what happened to him, but yeah, his name was grayed out, so he wasn't, at least was not in the session for most part of the qualifying, which injured, of course, is opportunities. Of course, the track, the further you get into the qualifying session, the track increases in temperature, and therefore the tires work better. So if you really have to try to get a lap time as late as you can in the session in order to get the best possible grip. I'm not sure. Yes, we do have formation a lap here. I was actually not sure for a moment there. Wasn't sure if I had to go into race start commentary mode, but yeah. So just another rundown. I didn't run down through everyone there. Let's open this up again. Let's get the where is the tires? There it is, the tires. So we have Alabama Man in the best of the people outside of the top 10. Looks like he's going to be starting the race on the soft compound. I'm not sure why he's going on that. That's quite of a questionable strategic choice, because the softs go for long enough to last you the entire race, I believe. I believe you can go pretty well from the ultra softs to super softs, or the reverse, unless Alabama is not feeling confident about the state of his tires. He's not confident he can manage the tires the way the others can, or at least the others are feeling more confident about their rubber managing skills than the Finn from the McLaren team. So other than that, we have the super soft runners of Leclerc and Colin. They are the only ones starting on the super softs in the top 10. So of course that might give them a slight strategic advantage, but again, as I mentioned during qualifying, he's going to have to navigate through the traffic. He's going to have to be quicker than the people around him to overcome the added or the quicker lap times the ultra softs can achieve. And he also has to be quicker in order to move to the front of the pack, or at least to get to a point where he doesn't have dirty air around him. So to make that strategy work best. So let's see, it's going to be interesting. Let's see how it goes as we have everyone coming to their grid marks. The Williams, both of them outside of the top 10. Sorry, no, I was taking a look at that wrong. So we have both Mercedes out of the top 10, not both Williams. Their colors are quite similar in the monitor, so yeah, I apologize for that one. And I'm guessing everyone is there, and the camera is not really going with it, but we have 5 red lights. Lights out, and away we go for the Australian Grand Prix. Looks like one of the Ferraris had a very good start. Calipos is already alongside El Nabu as Scotia jumps Recycle Finn, but Finn goes around the outside into turn 1 and reclaims first place, as we have someone in the background. Someone spun. It was Colin, it was Vane also with contact. And let's take a look at Magnet. Magnet looks like he got through everything unscathed. But yeah, there was issues between Colin and Vane. So Colin, he qualified in the top 10, but he basically had this strategic advantage I was mentioning before ruined. I'm going to try to take a look. Yes, he definitely has damage on his front wing, so he's going to have to take care of that, as we have Recycle Finn followed by both Ferrari drivers, as then we have the Alfa Romeo of Swiffer in P4, followed by El Nabu, who moved the place on the start. He overtook Leclerc and is up to P5, so again the difference in speed is also translated into the start, because you don't get as much traction on the start if you are on the super softs compared to the ultra soft runners. Recycle Finn was quite lucky there to get himself through first place at the exit of the first corner. Corsia got inside of him, but but he was able to defend around the outside. There was contact there. Cosio was also pretty well, just showed his driving skills and reflexes to catch the car and not go into the wall, because sometimes getting touched like that in the front tire into turn 1 might make you spin because of the momentum coming from all the, well, the car is already getting all its weight on the outside tires, and if you move that support from the car, the rear just can't support all the weight of the car alone, and the suspension just gives out, the car bottoms out, and then you might find yourself in the wall, Bottas style. Colin is going to the pits as he's getting a repair on his front tires, and let's just keep moving down the order. We have we have some issues in sector 1. I think that was a Red Hornet. He's going quite slowly. Not slowly, but quite lonely at the moment, so we might have lost quite a bit, as we have a battle between Vane and Taxi Tundra. The Williams got overtaken by the Turkish driver of the Renault. That Turkish driver was got himself on pole in last season, but this season is not really getting the greatest of starts. Quite wobbly there on the exit from both Vane and the Williams driver, bringing out the yellow flags there momentarily. But yeah, they didn't crash, which is great, as Recycle Fin finishes the lap to get himself on with the fastest lap of the race so far. Of course, it's the first to cross over the line, and it's really dominating. Look at that, already almost 3-second gap. It's already over 3 seconds, the gap between Recycle Fin and Kochia, so very, very competent pace between that Toro Rosso and the cars behind us. We have, oh, we have El Nabu spun! El Nabu spun on the approach to turn 3. I'm not sure if he had contact or just spun on his own, but the Portuguese was doing decently in the top 5 and now finds himself on the back of the pack, unfortunately for him, as Marcel Leboeuf in P7 at the moment. Let's move to the Ferrari drivers. I'm going to look at Kochia. He dropped the place to Calipos a while ago, but it doesn't look like he has front wing damage, so it's basically just Calipos. Despite having a worse qualifying performance than his teammates, looks like he has superior race pace. Maybe the difference in setups is allowing Calipos to have a better pace at the moment. Now we have Weasley. He had a moment, where is this? Is this the exit of turn 10? Let me take a look through the TV pod. No, it was the high-speed chicane, so he had a moment there. He drops to P10, fortunately for him, but does he look... Oh boy, we have Marcel Leboeuf on the wall there as well. I'm really missing all the incidents. And Marcel Leboeuf is going to try to defend from the Renault of Vane. Let's see how that goes as the Williams gets into the pits. Vane got himself ahead of Marcel Leboeuf, and let's see, as we have El Nabu now on the back of that Sauber, or the Sauber Alfa Romeo. Let's see how it goes now through the first corner. He didn't really have the space to go for a maneuver, quite understeer, or quite a lot of understeer through turn 2, so let me just try a look in a second to see if he has... Yes, he does have a couple of the elements missing on the right side of his front wing, so he's going to be he's going to have to take that into account through every corner he makes throughout the entire race, unless he is going to replace that in the pits. Alabama, yes, he started on the soft tires, which are actually the worst in terms of pace, but he has kept his nose clean through all the circumstances around him, and he finds himself in P6 at the moment, 7/10 away from Fungus, who is on the super soft, so the super soft choice has worked out for him and for Leclerc. And yeah, of course he's not going to be losing as much as he could, as I'm thinking Vane is out as Marcel DNFs from the race. I think there was an incident between either Marcel DNF'd, I don't know what happened, I'm sorry guys, but yeah, either Marcel DNF'd from a crash into Vane, or it was just coincidental moments that Marcel disconnected and Vane was in the wall. So unfortunately for the Renault driver, he knows how to get himself on top in terms of pace, but through his consistency is not getting the job done today. El Nabu goes to the pits. He's going to replace the front wing after his issues into turn 3 at the end, or at the start of a last lap. So he's going to bolt on a set of softs. He's going to surely go to the end on those, as we are going to move up to Swiffer, as he's been closing in on the back of Calipos. Corsia is down in P8, and now he has had clean air to chase the Dutch driver of the Ferrari. Let's go on board with him. Let's see for a moment where, if he's being quicker than Calipos, let's see where he is quicker. Of course, he's going to approach lap after lap because of the DRS usage. Of course, if Calipos is not that much quicker than him throughout the remaining corners of the circuit. It looks like Swifter is close enough to line up an overtaking attempt on the Ferrari driver, as Calipos got a smoother exit of turn 15 that gained him a couple of a car length, maybe a car length and a half, but Swifter is going to have DRS wide open as we approach turn 1. Let's use the last of the late breakers into turn 1, and it's Swifter with the overtaking maneuver completed, getting himself a second place. And of course, with all this battling, look at Recycle Finn. He already has a 5-second gap to everyone behind him. So it's really decent, really quick pace from Recycle at the moment. He only got bothered into turn 1 because I believe it was Corsia got a better start than him. But other than that, he has been pretty alone, pretty lonely, and I'm sure that's how he wants the race to stay for a while longer. Now, moving down to the battle between 5th and 6th place. Alabama, despite being on the softs, looks like is more comfortable on those than Fungus is on the super softs. Of course, the super softs are going to be degrading quicker, as we also had the movement in positions between Corsia and Elton, I believe, there for a moment, unless that was just a visual glitch. Yeah, Alabama, of course, his tires are going to degrade slower, sorry, so he's going to have more stable pace as he goes on the inside of turn, I believe that he's turn 13. He had a look at it, but could not gain any positions, as Marcel Leboeuf, we just got notified. Oh, that was Alabama with a lockup. He almost went into the back of that Mercedes, but yeah, we got notification that Marcel Leboeuf, he disconnected. He's trying to rejoin onto his seat in the Alfa Romeo Sauber. He's still in 12th place. Everything can happen, really. He's not too far off the points, so points are still on the cards for him today. Hopefully doesn't have any more internet issues and can move on to a good race from him, as Vane takes a 3-second time penalty. His race goes from bad to worse. A 3-second time penalty for an accumulation of warnings for extending the track limits. Looks like Alabama isn't really closing in on the car ahead of him after that moment at turn 15, locking up front tires and almost going into the back of the Mercedes. He hasn't really been able to recover his momentum and challenge for that 5th place. So they are now following with Calipos. He lost the place a couple laps ago to Swiffer, but I'm sure he's looking to get back at the German. The top 3 drivers are all of them using the ultra softs. The time is running out in terms of tire life for these guys, because I'm sure as much as they want to overtake the car ahead of them, they don't really want to be holding each other up too much, because those guys in 4th and 5th that started on the super softs, of course, whenever the ultra soft guys pit, they are going to have fresher tires than 4th and 5th place at the moment, but those guys later in the race are going to have fresher and softer compound of tires on their cars, so if they are quick enough and comfortable enough on those, they might be breathing down the neck of these top 3, or at least some of the elements of these top 3 towards the end of the race. Aiton is in the pits. He's going to switch for the soft tires, so some guys who started on the ultra softs are making the switch to from the ultra softs to the softs instead of the ultra softs to the super softs, as I just noticed on the graphics as well that Alabama overtook Fungus, so we missed that one unfortunately. But Elton is going to rejoin the track in 12th place, but of course he has 7 laps fresher tires than the cars in front of him, or the car directly in front of him. Despite being an harder compound, those 7 laps difference in freshness might be important, as we have Colin overtaking his teammate as they collide. We have an inter-team collision between Colin and Magnet, and well, I'm guessing Magnet's name was fitting in that moment. Zelnabo just says thank you very much and moves himself up to P14. Colin got relatively fine out of that incident, but Magnet, let's see if he has any sort of wing damage. It doesn't look to me like he has damage. Maybe that's just a visual glitch, maybe he does have damage, but I can't really look at it. As we have Red Hornet, it just crashed out. Of course, I can't go to him, can I? No, I cannot go to him. For some reason, yeah, this is something that could be fixed in next iterations of this game, because as soon as someone DNFs, you can check up on him to see where he crashed, unfortunately. But yeah, that's just how it goes. And Magnet goes out of the track. He must have wing damage that I just cannot see. But moving to further up the grid, we have Fungus very close to Alabama. So the British driver of the Mercedes is chasing down the Finn, and of course the Finn overtook him at the beginning of the previous lap. So let's see now how Fungus responds. Of course, he's going to be able to maintain himself on the back of that McLaren, using not only the slipstream throughout the race, but also, or throughout the laps, but also from DRS. If he's within 1 second of him, he's still, at least at the moment, he's 1 second away, but or within 1 second away, but looks like Alabama is quicker than him at the moment. Of course, Alabama has tires in better condition because they are harder, they degrade slower. But also, looks like he's been more comfortable, since the start of the race, he's been more comfortable on those tires than GC Fungus. As we have two of the leaders in the pits, so it's Swiffer and... sorry, I picked up the wrong... God damn it, I'm picking up the wrong people, I'm sorry about that. As we have Calipos and Swiffer gets himself in front of Calipos. It was close between those two, but Swiffer maintains himself in P2 as they are coming out in front of the Toro Rosso of Willie P. So the American driver won't be picking up any positions from that. Moving to Fungus, is now 1/10 away from Alabama, so he had a better first sector there, as we just got notified by race control that Vane got a 5-second stop and go penalty, I believe, for a collision with someone. I couldn't really pick up who that was, but yeah, Fungus is now really bringing down the neck of Alabama. Let's see who is the bravest into the high-speed chicane, and look at the distance Alabama gained on that Mercedes. Fungus needs to be way more committed into this chicane if he wants to get a chance at overtaking Alabama into the first corner. He needs to be closer to the end of that sector too. Now we have Colin in the pits, switching to a set of soft tires. This race is basically done. He's 16 seconds away from his teammate, and yeah, at the moment it's not really going well for the Force India drivers. Let's see how it goes now between Marcel and Skull, as the Canadian overtook Skull in the Haas. We haven't had any moments with Skull at the moment, but yeah, the American driver in the American-based team, he just makes a mistake, outbreaks himself. Oh, the grass on the tires! You can't be that brave on the acceleration right after getting the grass. The tires have basically no grip. You might as well be driving on ice. Scotia is in the pits to get a brand new set of the soft tires on him, and he's going to come out of the pits. Let's take a look at that. He's going to come out right away, or right in front of Vane. Let's just see how close it is. Oh, Vane is literally pushing him up the exit of turn 2. Let's see who's the latest breaker into turn 3. Of course, Kosia has fresher tires. A little bit of a switchback, and there's contact between Vane and Kosia. Kosia needs to be a little bit more aware. Oh boy, I'm having a bit of an interesting moment there. But yeah, Kosia maintains himself in P13 and is now going to take advantage of his fresher tires to pull away from Vane. Yeah, that was quite dangerous for Vane. It could have spun there, so quick reflexes to correct the car there. But I'm sure Kosia was just trying to open up the trajectory for corner number 4. But sometimes when you have people that close to you, you must be aware of how close the arrow, the indication arrow, or the proximity arrow is indicating how close the car behind is. So yeah, maybe take a bit more attention to that next time, because Vane could have gotten to the wall for the second time in this race. Now, moving through the pack, we have Recycle Fiend in his first lap after coming in the pits, so he's going to be the first out of the top, sorry, no, not the first, the last out of the top 3 drivers to come into the pits, so therefore he's going to be able to maintain the tires fresher. Of course, Swiffer and Calipos, they went on the soft tires, but yeah, maybe Recycle is going to be able to take home the super softs. Swiffer and Calipos, they are, I'm sure they are predicting they are going to be fighting each other, so they need the extra tire life in order to not lose too much to each other, as looks like El Nabu at the moment there, because we have yellow flags for that, and El Nabu got a severe collision with Skull. So I don't know what happened there, but unfortunately El Nabu is in issues for a second time. So it was Colin getting a 5-second penalty for a collision with Vane, not Vane getting the penalty. Thank you for the correction, chat. But yeah, El Nabu is in the wall once again, and this race is effectively over in terms of any chance of getting a points-paying position at the end of the race. Now Fungus has been chasing Alabama. Of course, Alabama, despite having harder tires, hasn't really been under too much of a threat from Fungus. Of course, his tires are going to be degrading quicker, but he's going to be able to maintain on the back of this McLaren by virtue of the slipstream and the DRS, through the DRS zones. Fungus hasn't really had any opportunity to overtake the Finnish driver. So we go from a Finn in the Toro Rosso leading the race to a Finn in the McLaren leading the race. Just a bit of a curious stat for those of you who like that sort of thing. Now, moving down in the pack, let's see, we have Calipos that's close to Swiffer, but not enough to go for an overtake attempt at the moment. Further down we have Vane and Kostya battling for the last point-paying position. Of course, Kostya has pitted later, as we have El Nabu retiring from the race. Unfortunately for him, just 2 moments on the wall. I'm not sure if any of them was his fault, but the truth is that he came out with the worst end of the stick in both circumstances, and he just retires his McLaren. So not a good start of the season for one of the McLarens, quite reminiscent of the actual Grand Prix, Sainz, DNF'd, and the other McLaren did pretty well. Of course, not leading the race as Alabama is at the moment, but well enough considering he was in a McLaren. As we have Fungus in the pits going for a set of soft tires as Vane loses the rear and is in the wall. Fortunately enough, he was able... Oh boy, we have a bit of carbon fiber there. Oh, thank God he just ghosted, because Marcel was going straight at him. And Vane just retires. That's just, yeah, the race, he did pretty well in qualifying, but the race has been disastrous for the Turkish driver of the Renault. Let's move through the pack as we have Calipos closer to Swiffer than he was last time we looked at the pair. We also have Kostya overtaking Helton for 9th place. I don't know if Helton made a mistake, because Kostya was getting chased down by Vane and he didn't really look like he had anyone immediately in front of him. So I'm guessing the Williams driver, the Norwich driver of the Williams, made some sort of mistake. Moving once again to Calipos, we are going on board with the Dutch driver of the Ferrari. Let's see how he does. I don't think... Well, it's all going to be on the exit of this corner, isn't it? To see if he has a chance at overtaking. A little bit of understeer. He might have some minor front wing damage, as he got quite a bit of understeer at the exit of corner number 16, as we have yellow flags in the first sector. Maybe Skull went into the wall or something, because he just got overtaken by Colin. Maybe Skull just made a mistake. The incident has been cleared. We don't have any more yellow flags, as there was a massive lockup in the right front of Calipos as he approached turn 3. So yeah, these guys look like they are very much matching each other in terms of pace. even though Calipos has the DRS and has the slipstream through the straights, he also has dirty air in the corner. So of course that's not going to help either his front tire temperature nor the effectiveness of the brakes, because of course he doesn't have the weight, if I can call it that, the weight of the air slowing down the car, just creating drag on the front wing and helping slow down the car. He doesn't have that because he's so close to Swiffer. He actually has lost a couple tenths to his Swiffer through this lap, so only a mistake from that Alfa Romeo driver is going to get him is going to give Calipos any chances of moving into the top 3. Now, going further down the order a little bit, let's take a look at Willie P. He's going on his 14th lap in these Super Softs. Let me just see if he has stopped. No, he has not stopped yet. He's gained 6 places from the start, and he hasn't stopped yet. Of course, when he pits, he's going to get at least to 11th place. I think Weasley, Kosia, Elton and Marcel, all of them are going to overtake him once he goes into the pits, but still very well done from the American driver. He hasn't really had much TV time, if I can say that, which is also a good thing. Means that he hasn't been involved in much trouble. So just getting this race cleanly, he's on his strategy, starting on the Super Soft, is going to try to stretch these as much as he can before dropping to a set of Ultra Softs and try to take advantage of the difference in pace between not only the Ultra Softs and some people who might be going on Super Softs, but also from the softs, because it looks like quite a few people are running the softs until the end of the race. So Willie P, if he opts for the Ultra Softs, is going to be very, very competitive towards the end. He might actually come right back up to 7th place in pace alone, because yes, Willie P hasn't pitted yet, but some of the cars around him have at least 5 laps old tires. So it's going to be interesting towards the end to see how that goes, as we have Kosia with the 3-second time penalty. So that's going to hinder his chances at overtaking Weasley. He might even overtake him on track, but that reduces his chances of actually being in front of him towards the end of the race. Now, looking around the grid, we have Colin catching up on Tundra, and he just goes around him. That's Williams. Is not Alabama. I'm pretty sure that's not Alabama. Or maybe if it was Alabama lapping someone, as we have Willie P and Weasley both in the pits, so they're going to drop to 10th and 11th respectively, I believe. Let's see if my predictions confirm. Elton is also in the pits, so now they are going to move to 9th and 10th, but if it wasn't for that, I'm pretty sure I was accurate in my prediction, as I'm sure that's Alabama in front of Colin. So I'm sure he's going to have to try and gain the slipstream to get an advantage from Taxi Tundra, as we have also Recycle Finn on the Super Softs, 2 tenths away from Alabama. Let's just take a look at the amount of laps. 16th lap, about to start the 17th lap from those soft tires from Alabama. So there was a duel between both Finns. Not really much of a duel. Alabama didn't really have the tires to respond. He's not battling with this guy that we have on your screens at the moment, and Recycled Finn just easily regains the lead of the race. And yeah, just very controlled race, no issues really. The only issues he might have until the end of the race are either a mistake of his own or some issues with back markers, but other than that, he's been really on a race of his own at the moment. Now moving to Calipos, these two have been so close, yet so far, the entire race. Calipos, that's going to destroy, he's so close, that's probably going to be destroying his tires quite soon. Let's just take a look at his TV pod. Let's see where he's losing time. Let's see if I can play, maybe you guys at home can pay closer attention and really make a sort of a virtual map on your mind and see which corners he is losing to Swiffer. Of course, I have to commentate, I might not pick up on that as easily. Looks like Swiffer pulled away through corners 11 and 12. So again, just like Fungus and Alabama, Swiffer is taking the chicane in a much more committed fashion than Calipos, and that's where Calipos is losing time. Again, he might have slight front wing damage because he was suffering through understeer a couple laps ago through exactly this last corner. So he might have a couple of end plates missing on his car. That's making him lose time through the chicane, or it's just a confidence issue. As we have Colin causing yellow flags, he made a mistake. He's now recovering onto the track. Let's see if he poses any issues to these two cars around him. No, they do not. So pretty good there. At least he hasn't had the best races, but at least he got out of the way of those that are having a good race. So well on him for that. But yeah, the gap isn't really changing. Calipos, I'm sure he's pushing as hard as he can, but at the moment he isn't really getting the best of the German driver of the Alfa Romeo Sauber. Of course, Swiffer, he needs to get a good start to his season, because for those of you who arrived later than the race start, Sloppy McFloppy, the championship winner last season, is Swiffer's teammate and is not racing here today. So, Swiffer, I'm not sure how good he is compared to Sloppy, because they haven't raced together yet, but I'm pretty sure this is a good start to the season in terms of the inter battle, or the inter team driver rivalry that always occurs between teammates throughout the season. Now, going to some other drivers, we have Alabama finally in the pits. He's going to set he's going to bolt on a set of the purple-walled Ultra Softs to his tires, and just the difference, is going to get undercut by fungus. So that was the difference in pace from the tires, but he has Ultra Softs compared to the Super Softs. Of course, fungus are going to have his tires degrading slowly, but he's going to be almost a sitting duck compared to Alabama. Alabama is going to be much faster, but if he's going to have a maneuver done, he needs to do it quick, because the window for his tires to be effective and for him to be able to push and be close enough to fungus to actually attempt an overtake, he has about 3, 4, maybe 5 laps is how big that window is. So he really needs to get on, keep his head down and just work to get himself closer to fungus and overtake the British driver of the Mercedes. You have yellow flags through turn 3. I didn't see any change of positions, so I couldn't quite see who was having issues. But yeah, it's definitely someone having issues through the third sector. Was it Swiffer? It might have been Swiffer, because he not only got overtaken by Calipos, but he got a 1 second deficit now. We missed that battle, unfortunately. They've been battling for so long that when they finally do the maneuver, we miss it. That's just my luck. I'm sorry for that. Well, that was quite a bit of Murphy's Law right there, wasn't it? A Skull gets a 5-second stop-and-go penalty for speeding in the pit lane. Vane, he had already retired from the race. Now he leaves the lobby altogether. So not a good start of the season for the Turkish driver. Of course, he had a pretty good race. I think he finished in the podium last season. Got pole and finished in the podium. But this season it has been a disastrous race for the Turkish driver. Now, Swiffer, he gained the second difference to Calipos, so I don't know what Calipos did there, but Swiffer is right on the back of that Ferrari. Let's see how that gap develops until the end of the lap, as Alabama just overtook Fungus into turn 9, I would say that was, and we have yellow flags for someone that's having issues in the first sector. Taxi Tundra getting a penalty for extending the track limit. So the Williams drivers in 11th and 12th, not 11th and 12th. Elton is a Mercedes driver. I'm sorry, I just keep thinking Elton is a Williams driver. Weasley is in the points, Taxi Tundra is not. So unfortunately for the Williams drivers, they and the Williams team altogether, they only have one of their drivers in the points win position. That was an interesting moment from Calipos there. I'm sure that was only happening on my screen though. But Swifter, was it? No, he's not going for a move into turn 3. He thought of it too risky maybe. Maybe he's just trying to conserve his tires to get an overtaking maneuver done in the closing stages of the race. Maybe he's just trying to keep a bit more life on his tires to hopefully get a traction advantage on Calipos whenever they go side by side into a corner, if push comes to shove. But let's see how that goes. Alabama already overtook Fungus, as I showed you a couple laps ago, and the gap is already over 2 seconds. That's the difference in pace between the ultra softs and the softs. Look at that. Fungus is already 2 seconds behind Alabama, and Leclerc is better been looking out for orange bulge on his mirrors, because Alabama is coming for him. It has 10 laps old softs, and Alabama has 2 laps old ultra softs. So we just saw on the camera Leclerc going through the previous corner, but shortly enough, we are going to have Alabama also getting on that camera shot as he goes right there, getting through the last corner. It's still 1.5 seconds to Leclerc, but when you have an ultra soft, 2 soft difference, that second might be covered pretty quickly, also depending on the confidence that each driver has on their pace and on the handling with each set of tires. But yeah, nonetheless, you might have a pretty heated up battle for only 2nd and 3rd, but also for 4th and 5th place towards the end. Let's see, it's certainly getting more interesting. Of course, Recycle Fin is 15 seconds away from Calipos, so there's no discussion. Recycle Fin is really just pulling away and demolishing the competition here today. So, very well done from the Fin. But again, Calipos was closer to Swifter. Do you guys remember him not attacking Calipos into turn 3? That might be biting him right now, because he's been losing time. Since then, he hasn't been as close as he was that time. So, despite, yeah, he's going to have enough for the slipstream and the DRS into turn 1, but apparently both drivers are they were doing very well when Swiffer was being chased. He was doing very well to defend, and now it's Calipos that's doing very well to defend. Look at the gap he created through the last couple corners, and yeah, just doesn't give any chances to Swiffer, who, that was just those millimeter, those centimeter differences. You saw how Calipos took the first corner and how slightly wide Swiffer went at it, as we have Swiffer having a look around the outside of Calipos, but that just didn't work. He was too far behind to make that one happen. As, of course, that battling is going to allow Leclerc, who not only has 2-lap fresher tires, but also he hasn't been through all of the issues in terms of battling. He hasn't gone through all of the pressure the cars in front of him have been under. So Leclerc is going to be closing in on him. He's already under 1 second of the German driver, and yeah, he might contest for that 2nd place, and Alabama isn't too far behind. So let's see how that goes. By the way, that was my mistake. I was reading the graphics wrong. Alabama is 6 seconds behind Leclerc. I was blind. I'm sorry about that. But yeah, that's just how it goes sometimes. But he's been closing in quite fast. He's already 5.5 seconds of a gap to Leclerc. Let's see how it goes, how the gap changes with these last 4 laps of the race. Swiffer is close to Calipos once again, but is not close enough, doesn't have that speed difference at the exit of turn 16 to get himself past. As we have yellow flags in sector 3. I'm not really picking up where that happened. Was it Weasley? It might have been Weasley. Let's see. It doesn't appear to have wing damage, so maybe it just went into the grass into or at the exit of corner number 13. Willie P just overtook him as if he wasn't even there. And yeah, he's up to P9, so Willie P, again, as I was mentioning... Oh, Willie P is in the pits! So was it Willie in the wall? I can't really check his front wing. The halo is in the way. And let's see, is he going to replace... Yes, he's going to replace the front wing. Unfortunate from the American driver. And yeah, that's unfortunate from him. Calipos has a battle with Swiffer. They are going side by side. And Calipos, I think, maintained his P2. Yes, he did maintain his P2, and now Leclerc joins the party. I'm going to go on board with the Renault driver, with the British driver of the Renault, as he joins the party, and there's prime seat in the house to the battle between Swiffer and Calipos. Let's see how that develops throughout the remaining laps of the race. 3 laps to go here in this opening round of the 6th season of COR. And it's really going to be, the first place has been basically decided already, but it's going to be very close for the remaining podium positions. And if they slow down each other, don't count out Alabama. Yes, of course, his tires are going to be degrading very rapidly. It's already 6th lap on that set of Ultrasofts. But if they battle enough and aggressively enough and lose enough time, Alabama might be bringing down their neck as well. COR Leclerc just cutting too much. If you go with your, if you don't even get your front right over that sausage curb, you are going to get a penalty for sure, or at least a warning. He didn't even get the tire on top of the sausage curb. He went completely over it. That's cutting it too tight. I'm sorry, man. He did well to recover some ground, but that's unfortunate from him. Now he has to count on penalties from the people around him if he wants to get himself a chance at the podium. And of course, I haven't seen any penalties from Alabama. So if Alabama is just 1 second quicker through the next 2 laps, which when you have Ultrasofts compared to Supersofts is not all that hard, at least from my experience, it might be within 3 seconds at the end of the race, as we have Swiffer finally with the DRS open. He gets the inside of the Ferrari, and let's see any response. No, there's no response from the Ferrari driver into turn 3. So let's keep on following these two. Finally, we had the on-track position change between these two. Finally, Swiffer got past Leclerc. He tried 1 or 2 laps ago, and now he finally was able to be close enough to pick up his lines, pick up, like, just be smooth on the exit of turn 15 and entry of turn 16, get himself within enough distance to be able to pull off the maneuver, and there he goes, and this already has half a second. In fact, Leclerc is closer to Calipos than Calipos is to Swiffer. So maybe the theory I had that Calipos was under slight wing damage throughout this entire race, that might be true. Let's not forget Calipos and Grosjean, they were starting on the 2nd row of the grid on the start of this Grand Prix, and one of the cars on the front row had a very poor start. I don't remember who it was. I don't remember who qualified in P2, but whoever qualified in P2 have a very bad start, and it was quite chaotic into turn 1. There might have been a collision there between Calipos and somebody, because I haven't seen Calipos get in that big of trouble throughout the race. He's been very cleanly, even through his battles with Swiffer and the previous battles with Grosjean. They've been very, very clean. So I'm not sure where Calipos might have gotten any damage apart from the turn or the first lap, not turn 1. Now, Alabama, as you guys can see, has been closing in, and he's exactly 3 seconds away from Leclerc. He only needs to get 1 or 2 tenths until the end of the race, and he might be 4th place in the end due to the 3-second penalty of COR Leclerc. Now we have Calipos going slightly too wide on the exit of turn 10. Not sure if he picked up any warnings there. Then he got very close to the wall. It could have been a bit dangerous there, but let's see just how it goes. Calipos is losing ground to Leclerc, to Swiffer, and Leclerc is going to be all over his rear end as we approach turn 13. There he goes, the third DRS zone, the flap is wide open, and he gets the inside line, and now under corner number 14, he gets the inside line and consolidates the move. Calipos doesn't want to give that up that easily, goes back, he locks up the front tires, but can't respond. Calipos has to concede 4th place. He was in 2nd just 2 laps ago, and now he finds himself outside of the podium. He's going to have the DRS now on the Renault driver into not only turn 1 but turn 3. Let's see if he has another go at the Renault. No, he's just too far away, and yeah, he's just out of it. So Alabama, he has the Leclerc has the 3-second penalties, so depending if Calipos has a penalty or not, Alabama might actually go from 5th up to P3, because I don't think Alabama has any penalties yet. I know Leclerc just picked up a penalty. I don't know if Calipos has a penalty. So Alabama might be on the cards for the 3rd place finish, as we have an issue in the first sector. Someone went wide or something. Easily cleared issue, as we have Recycle Finn. And there he is. He's been only challenged by Koshia into the first corner, and other than that, he's been in clean air. Just a nice Sunday stroll for the Finn in this opening round as he crosses over the line and he takes the win of this Australian Grand Prix. We have Recycle Finn as the first winner of this season. Now let's move to Swiffer. Looks like he's going to get P2. Leclerc as Calipos 3 tenths behind, and as Swiffer gets P2, Leclerc is going to claim P3 on track. Let's not forget he still has his penalties. Let's see, does Calipos have a penalty? No, he does not, and he's going to move down to P5, I guess. No, he did not move to P5, so Alabama also had a penalty, but Calipos, he actually picks up to 2nd. Swiffer and Leclerc had penalties, so Calipos, despite being in 4th place, because of the penalties, he moved himself up to P2, so at the end it all turned out well for the Ferrari driver. Speaking of the Ferrari, we have Koshia crossing the line in 7th, but gets overtaken by Marcel Leboeuf, who so the Lithuanian finishes in P8. Marcel Leboeuf, let's not forget, in the early stages of the race, he disconnected from the lobby. He was down in P12, and I told you guys, he still might be on the cards for a points paying position at the end. And that's just what happened. He kept his nose clean, just kept his head down, keep on working. People around him got penalties, people around him got incidents, and it just finishes in 7th place. So yeah, just a great testament to never quit, right? Just he kept on working and was and he gets the payment of the points awarded for 7th place. Now, just a great race. I'm sure Recycle is going to be happy with that one. He only got challenged into turn 1 because he got a worse start than Koshia. He was able to defend it around the outside, and yeah, other than that, he just pulled away from Koshia and was never seen by anybody else. Just a very composed weekend from the Finn. Pole position. He only did not lap every single lap in the lead every single lap, because when he pit he dropped down to about 6th place, I think. But he did not lead every single lap, but Finn did lead every single lap, because when he pitted, I believe Alabama was the car that picked up the pieces and got himself 3rd place. So I believe, maybe my memory is not playing tricks on me, or maybe it is, but I believe Recycle led every single Finn led every single lap of the race. As you can see, Recycle Finn got a 3-second time penalty, so not just a bit of how to say, I'm lacking the words, you guys know what I mean. It's a bit of a spot that's not really brightening the entire weekend from him. That's the only mistake he did, was getting that penalty throughout the entire weekend. Calipos finishes in P2, Swiffer P3, Leclerc P4, Alabama in 5th place. We have Fungus in 6th. Marcel Leboeuf, after disconnecting, recovers greatly to 7th spot. Then we have Koshia, started in P2, picked up 2 3-second time penalties, finishes in 8th, so not the greatest start of the season compared to his teammate Weasley. Gets a points finish for Williams, and Willie P, after these issues, he was doing well for a 7th, 8th place finish, but he had to do an extra pit stop because he collided, I believe, with Weasley. Either he collided with Weasley or with a wall, and at least he still salvages a point from this as he completes the top 10. And this is it, guys. Hope you all enjoyed it. If you did, give me a like button. If you did not, the dislike button is, as always, right beside it. Subscribe if you'd like to see more. Hit the bell icon for any notifications of whenever I'm about to start a live stream or to post a video. If you are on YouTube, if you are on Twitch, a follow would be greatly appreciated. Hope to see you guys next time, and have a wonderful day. Goodbye.